I am the devil. I am the Lord Satan from the netherworld, ruler of the damned and eternal king of hell. Even I, the master of deceit, can only stomach so much bullshit from the mainstream media and indie grifters. That's why I tune in to Morning Extra with Uncle Warren, because he eliminates my competition, and also because I know I'm gonna see that motherfucker soon.
Deo, Deo.
Baby's got a burger and a shooter and that shit is all go down. Baby's got a burger and a shooter and that shit is all go down. Corrosion to her thighs, erosion of her pride. Baby's got a shooter, baby's got corrosion now, corrosion now. Baby's got it.
Good morning, everybody. It is Monday. Ooh, I almost slipped. Just cracked my foot. Barefoot on wood. Not a good combo. Not a good start, but it is what it is. We'll just shake it off, just walk it off, as they say in sports. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Willie Bragg hooking us up with the 10 spot. Appreciate you, buddy. This post Bernie bro, post Bernie or bust, brocialist, dirtbag leftist, and socialist scumbag like myself says good morning to all of you. Well, thanks, Willie. That's very kind of you to go to all that effort with the alliteration. We like some alliteration around here. It saves money on the typing. We got Chuck's Intergalactic UFO Show here. What's up, buddy? Got Rick Solace. We got the Satan on here, always keeping an eye on you, Rick, making sure you're doing your job. So he says, keep up the evil work, by the way. We got, let's see, we got Desert Mantis in the house. What's up, my friend? CBC voter. Good to see you as well. And good to see everybody here. It is Monday. We got a lot of news to get to, but first, I found this out a few days ago, did not know this, about our friend Chanda, Masta. You know her from Beauty and the Boomer, of course, her own show, Trailer Park Pundit. Well, she is going through cancer right now. She is battling lung cancer. So, and she needs the support of the community, of course. I have the link below in the description. If you can make a donation to her to help her out, because everybody knows that medical procedures of any kind take a lot of money, and with cancer, it's particularly expensive too. My family went through cancer. My dad had stomach cancer, and and it spread to his lungs, and it's probably one of the most horrible things that can happen to you. So, like I said, the description down below, the link down below, if you want to help her out, she has a GoFundMe there. And if you can, please do. If not, please share out the link to those who maybe could afford to chip a few bucks her way. So we like to make sure that all our peeps in this space, get the love and support that they need. So I guess we should get to the news. I didn't really want to do this because it just seems just like drama, but as I think it was Euripides who once said, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, chicken in a bucket, fuck it. So apparently they went after Trump again yesterday, but he's safe. Trump's safe after new assassination attempt thwarted. There he is in his Pope mobile. Remember the Pope Mobile? Some of you old schoolers may know. Republican presidential candidate and human turnip Donald Trump was safe on Sunday after the Secret Service foiled what the FBI called an apparent assassination attempt while he was golfing on his course in West Palm Beach, Florida. Now, well, let me go on. Several Secret Service agents fired on a gunman in bushes near the property line of the golf course after he was spotted a few hundred yards from where Trump was playing, law enforcement officials said. The suspect left an AK-47 style assault rifle and other items at the scene and fled in a vehicle and was later arrested. The apparent attempt on Trump's life came just 2 months after he was shot at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania, allegedly sustaining a minor injury to his right ear, which he apparently doesn't have a scar. They must have did some really good work on him. So, I'd like to thank everyone for your concern and well wishes. It was certainly an interesting day, probably one of the best days ever, probably one of the worst, but it was definitely a day. People are talking about the day, said Trump, again paraphrasing what he said. CNN, Fox News, and the New York Times identified the suspect as Ryan Wesley Ruth, 58, of Hawaii, citing unidentified law enforcement officials. The FBI declined to comment, and Reuters could not independently verify his identity. It was not clear if or how the suspect knew Trump was playing golf at the time or what his motive was, but the attempted attack was sure to raise new questions about the level of protection he's given. Allegedly. In response to a reporter's questions, officials acknowledged that because Trump is not in office, the full golf course was not cordoned off. If he was, we would have had the entire golf course surrounded. Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw said during yesterday's briefing, because he's not, security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. Soon after the incident, Trump sent an email, yeah, nothing will slow down, I'll never surrender, whatever. Joe Biden's like, yeah, glad you're alive, and Kamala Harris, she said the thing too. Or as they said on the Breakfast Club, Kamala, and they got onto that guy for saying Kamala. It's Kamala, it's Kamala, it's Kamala. Like, bitch, chill, man. And gun barrel in bushes. That's pretty much it. But turns out the guy is like some pro-Ukrainian guy. He wanted to go over there and fight, and he was too old. And I don't know. I guess the correlation is that Trump wants to end the war. He said he can end it in 24 hours. Whatever. Who knows? So he didn't even get shot at. I mean, they shot at him apparently, and there you go. The Trump drama continues. What's up, Ed? Good to see you. So there you go. There's your Trump bump for today. But wait, there's another plot, but this one to kill Maduro down in Venezuela. If you can't vote him out, if you can't coup him, then you might as well kill him, right? There you go. So, Venezuela foils a CIA plot to kill Maduro, says the Interior Minister. Diosdado Cabello, claims the arrested suspects, including a U.S. serviceman, were planning to conduct acts of terrorism. And there is the person right there, not the one doing the killing, but the Interior Minister. Venezuela's security service has thwarted a CIA-backed plot to assassinate President Nicolas Maduro and stage acts of terrorism, the Interior Minister has claimed. Cabello said 2 Spanish, 1 Czech, and 3 U.S. nationals, including a member of the American military in active service, had been detained and that several hundred military-grade firearms had been seized. Seized them! A contested presidential election back in July saw Maduro reelected for a 3rd term with 52% of the vote. However, the opposition accused the government of rigging the ballot. The U.S., EU, most Latin American states, and the G7 have since refused to recognize Maduro as the elected head of state. Caracas, in turn, has accused Washington of attempting to stage a coup. Speaking to the broadcaster Telesur on Saturday, Cabello claimed that a U.S. citizen named Wilbert Castaneda, a member of a Navy SEAL detachment decorated for missions in Afghanistan and Iraq, was the ringleader of one of the groups. He was apprehended on September 1st, the minister added. A spokesperson for the U.S. Department of State confirmed to the EFE media outlet that several American citizens, including an active serviceman, had been detained in Venezuela. The official, however, categorically dismissed allegations of a U.S. government role in any conspiracy to oust Maduro. Well, they tried that already. The Venezuelan Interior Minister also revealed that two Spanish nationals, Jose Maria Basoa Valdovinos and Andres Martinez Adasme, had been detained in the south of the country. According to Cabello, both are connected to Spain's National Intelligence Center, a claim Madrid has denied. Right? So here they are. They reject the claim of involvement in a plot to destabilize Venezuela, the Spanish are saying. So Spain rejects allegations by Venezuela that Madrid was involved in a plot to destabilize the government of the Latin American country, a foreign ministry source said Sunday. Spain denies and categorically rejects any insinuation that it is involved in a political destabilization operation in Venezuela, the source told AFP. After 3 Americans, like we said, 2 Spaniards and a Czech citizen were detained in Venezuela and accused of involvement in a plot against the government. The government has confirmed that the 2 Spanish detainees are not part of Spain's CNI spy agency or any other state body, the source added. Spain defends a democratic and peaceful solution to the situation in Venezuela. Venezuela's Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello said Saturday the foreign nationals were being held on suspicion of planning the attack on Maduro and his government. And the Spanish tie-in is interesting too, because the opposition leader in Venezuela, Gonzalez, I believe is his last name, fled to Spain because he thought the Venezuelan government was going to get him, and turns out probably was. So that's one. Yeah, I know. Spain trying to control South America, you don't say. If there was only some sort of historical reference to where the Spanish fucked with South America, what was that? All you history nerds know what I'm talking about. Meanwhile, in Yemen, Yemen has the biggest balls in the world. The Yemeni people. I know a few back in New York, and just salt of the earth, just wonderful people. And now they got long-range missiles. Oops. Oopsie sauce. Houthis launch long-range missile into central Israel. This is from Dave DeCamp at antiwar.com. Be sure to check out antiwar.com and the great reporting they have. And they also have, they really have a lot of different sources that they choose from, as well as doing their own reporting. So check them out. You get the real scoop from these guys. So the Israeli military said yesterday that a long-range missile fired by Yemen's Houthis struck central Israel. The missile traveled over 1,200 miles from Yemen, demonstrating a significant long-range capability from the Houthis. Now, it's bad enough that these guys are sinking boats out there and just making a mockery out of the U.S. Navy. Now they got these long-range missiles. Uh-oh. The Israeli military initially said the missile landed in an uninhabited area, that it exploded in the air but was not destroyed by Israel's air defense systems. The missile sparked a fire near the Ben Gurion International Airport. No casualties were reported in the strike, but an Israeli official said 9 people were injured as they were moving toward shelters after alarms sounded. Houthi military spokesman Yahya Sarria told the Houthis, said the Houthis, officially known as Ansar Allah, that was when they had that former lead singer, and then they changed the lead singer, and now they're the Houthis. Fired a new hypersonic missile that traveled to central Israel in less than 12 minutes. The Israeli military denied that the missile was hypersonic. Of course, they deny all this stuff, and said it's currently examining the debris to determine its type and capability. The military insisted that none of its adversaries, including Iran, possess hypersonic missiles. That's what you think. And Yemen said, well, let me just show you. Israeli Prime Minister and psychopath Benjamin Netanyahu warned that Yemen would pay a heavy price for the missile attack. Well, I thought it didn't do anything. Why would you pay a heavy price for if it didn't do anything? In July, a Houthi drone hit Tel Aviv, killing one civilian, and Israeli responded by launching major airstrikes on the Yemeni port of Hodeidah, and which killed 7 civilians and caused $20 million worth of damage to fuel infrastructure. Last year, the Houthis began targeting Israeli-linked shipping with drone and missile attacks, as we said, in response to Israeli onslaught in Gaza. The U.S. launched a new bombing campaign against the Houthis back in January and continues to bomb Yemen frequently, but the U.S. strikes have only escalated the situation and have done nothing to deter the Houthis, who have said they will stop if there's a ceasefire in Gaza. So there you go. Just stop, stop killing people, and we'll stop scaring the shit out of you, apparently. So the Houthis always pulling something out of their bag of tricks, and now they got long range missiles. Woo, yeah. So Israel should probably be sweating right now. And if that's not bad enough, of course, Hezbollah is always just cracking their heads too. This is massive Hezbollah rocket volley hit strategic Israeli army base. This is from the Cradle. Lebanese resistant movement Hezbollah launched dozens of rockets towards Israeli army positions near Lebanon's border Saturday, hitting the headquarters of the Israeli Army's Artillery and Precision Missile Brigade 282, northwest of Lake Tiberias, for the first time. So, I think this is one of them here. Oh, I guess not. I guess it goes to that page. Sorry. We'll go back to the thing. Anyway, according to a statement released by Hezbollah, the attack was launched in response to an Israeli airstrike during the early morning hours that left over a dozen casualties in the town of Nabatea. Israel's continued attacks on southern Lebanese villages have killed over 130 civilians since cross-border clashes started October 8th. So, yeah, I mean, Israel should be scared. Houthis to the left of me, Hezbollah to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. But fear not, they're getting help from by exploiting African refugees. Israel recruits African refugees for Gaza operations in exchange for settled status. They should put that in quotes. There's some lady and some children going underneath an air conditioner. Israel is recruiting African refugees for life-threatening operations in Gaza in exchange for settled status in the country, sources have revealed. Defense officials told Haaretz that the project was being conducted under the guidance of legal advisors from the defense establishment in an organized manner. There are approximately 30,000 African asylum seekers in Israel. They face growing pressure from anti-immigrant politicians, including Prime Minister and human thumb Benjamin Netanyahu, who regularly refers to them as infiltrators. One man interviewed by Haaretz, who ultimately chose not to enlist, recounted being approached by a security official to join the war effort. The official explained that after a 2-week training period, he would be deployed alongside other asylum seekers. I asked, "What do I get?" Even though I'm not really looking for anything, said the man, identified as A. But then he told me, "If you go this way, you can receive documents from the state of Israel." He asked me to send him a photocopy of my ID and said he would take care of these things. Right. According to Haaretz, none of the asylum seekers who participated in the war effort have been granted official status so far. There's a shock. And defense sources said that the ethical concerns surrounding the recruitment of asylum seekers had not been addressed. The outlet reported that asylum seekers had been used in various operations, citing military sources. This is a very problematic matter, one source said. The involvement of jurists does not absolve anyone of the obligation to consider the values by which we seek to live in Israel. Haaretz noted that the manner in which The Israeli army deploys the asylum seekers is barred from publication due to restrictions imposed by the Israeli military censor. That Israeli military censor, that's a busy cat, man. Hey, D, what's going on? We got global solidarity in the house, too. Good to see y'all. So, apparently Bibi and his coalition, his political coalition, are not doing too well. Apparently genocide and killing hostages that are your people are they ain't too keen on it. So this is from Memo, Middle East Monitor. Poll finds Netanyahu's coalition would lose power in an election. I think this is a great picture right there. The crime minister. Definitely crime minister. This guy's like, I can't argue with that. An opinion poll showed Israeli Prime Minister and shitbag Benjamin Netanyahu's right-wing Likud party would form the largest single party in parliament if an election were held now, underlying a gradual recovery since October last year. The poll published in the left-wing's Ma'ariv Daily showed Likud winning 24 seats against 32 at present, its highest score in the Ma'ariv poll since October. It put the National Unity Party, led by centrist former General Benny Gantz, on 21. Netanyahu's right-wing coalition with a clutch of nationalist, religious, and ultra-Orthodox parties would lose any election held now, with 53 seats in the 120-seat parliament against 58 for the main opposition bloc, according to the poll. But Likud's advance shows how far Netanyahu has moved since last year, when his standing was hit by public fury at the security failures which allowed Palestinian fighters to enter Israel and take prisoners of war back to Gaza. Earlier in the war on Gaza, opinion polls regularly showed Likud gaining no more than 18 seats in parliament. The survey also shows Netanyahu's personal standing as prime minister recovering, with respondents favoring him over any alternative potential candidate, apart from former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who is now out of politics. Despite coalition tensions between Netanyahu and several ministers and regular protests by Israelis demanding a deal to bring home the Gaza hostages, the government has held together for almost 2 years, and election is not due until 2026. Netanyahu has clashed with Defense Minister Yoav Gallant from his own party and two hardliners, National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir and Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich. While Likud has climbed steadily, support is not followed for the two nationalist religious parties, Jewish Power, led by Ben-Gvir, and Religious Zionism under Smotrich. You'd think Religious Zionism would be like topping the charts, giving both parties an incentive not to leave the government. There you go. And it turns out that, like we said, they do censor a lot in Israel. But some facts about last year has come out. This is from Press TV. Israel's military admits airstrikes on Gaza killed 3 captives last November. The Israeli military says there's a high probability that the regime's airstrikes have caused the death of 3 Israeli captives in the Gaza Strip months ago. It's not funny, haha. It's funny. Yeah, that's on brand for these motherfuckers. Yesterday, the military announced the conclusions of its investigations into the deaths of Nick Beezer, Ron Sherman, and Elia Toledano, whose bodies were taken back to the occupied territories from Gaza last December. According to the military's findings, the 3 were likely killed in a November airstrike in Gaza. This assessment is based on the location of where their bodies were found in relation to the strike's impact, performance analysis of the strike, intelligence findings, the results of the pathological reports, and the conclusions of the Forensic Medicine Institute. This is a high probability assessment based on all the available information, but it is not possible to definitively determine the circumstances of their death, said the military. So they're like, yeah, we probably did it. But we ain't got no proof that we did, and we're probably not going to give you any proof. But that's what they do, man. They lie, they tell you. And the same thing happened on October 7th. They had it turns out that most of the people killed there were killed by Apache helicopters flown by the IDF. Shocker. I know. You come to the show for shocking news. I understand. Yipper, what is going on? Israel's been killing their own since October 10th. That's true. That is very true. Their neighbor Jordan is, they got a little mix up in their leadership. They name a new prime minister after a parliamentary election. There's the gentleman right there in a nice suit. He's got the flag behind him. Got a little pin right there. That's nice. Jordan's King Abdullah II has appointed Jafar Hassan as the kingdom's new prime minister following a parliamentary election. In an official statement, the palace announced Hassan's appointment after his predecessor, Bishir Kasane, submitted his resignation to the king yesterday. Hassan, 56, previously served as planning minister and chief of staff to the king. King Abdullah called on Hassan to mobilize all efforts to support the steadfastness of our Palestinian brothers in Gaza, the occupied West Bank, and Holy Jerusalem. He urged him to use all our energy through Arab and international movements to protect the Palestinian people and stop the attacks and blatant violations of humanitarian principles and international law. Jordanians cast their votes on Tuesday in the first general election held under a new electoral law aimed at increasing the role of political parties in the 138-seat parliament, which has long been dominated by tribal and pro-government factions. The Islamic Action Front, the political arm of the Muslim Brotherhood, won up to a fifth of the seats under the 2022 electoral law, which for the first time allocated 41 out of the 138 seats to political parties. The revamped law is intended to weaken the tribal grip on power and bolster the role of political parties. However, the parliament remains largely in the hands of tribal centrist and pro-government members. So there you go. Checking out what's going on in Jordan and what's going on with the protests here in the United States. It's fall. That means football, and that means college is back in for the fall semester. And guess what? It's time to crack heads, right? Not crackheads, but crack some heads. U.S. universities impose strict regulations to crack down on Gaza protests. Universities across the United States have reportedly implemented stricter regulations and new policies to crack down on campus protests and free speech in the wake of on-campus activism to protest the U.S.-backed Israel's war in Gaza during the last academic year. A recent report by the New York Times underscores a growing trend among U.S. higher education institutions to impose stricter policies aimed at maintaining order while grappling with the complexities of free expression. Wallace West, good morning to you too as well. Welcome. Many universities have implemented measures including mandatory permits for demonstrations, restrictions on the time and place for protests, and sanctions for actions claimed disruptive or harmful to the campus environment. Lauren Lazabi Shepard, a professor at the University of New Orleans, said that more detailed rules would make it easier for university administrators to say that student protesters have broken them. As New York Times reports, several universities have explicitly banned encampments, a form of protest that has gained prominence and effectiveness. What's up, Prop? What is up? While many institutions previously restricted camping on their campuses, schools like Emory University, Rutgers, and the University of California system have now reinforced or implemented stricter prohibitions. The UC system has set new guidelines that require protest leaders to register their events in advance and conduct them in designated areas. So it's like, you can protest, but let us know in advance. We'll tell you where you can protest. Fuck off. That's not how, it's not, what's the old lady? That's not how this works. And no, that's not how anything works. Other institutions are considering similar pathways, claiming that they are necessary steps to prevent violence and maintain public safety. Many schools, like Indiana, have enacted regulations that confine protests to designated times and locations. At Ohio State University, for instance, all campus events must conclude by 10 p.m., while Northwestern University has prohibited protests before 3 p.m. in areas surrounded by classrooms. Carnegie Mellon University where you can get delicious melons, has introduced a new policy allowing officials to disperse unregistered gatherings of over 25 individuals at their discretion. NYU, in a further crackdown, revised its conduct guidelines to explicitly state that targeting individuals or ideologies associated with Zionism may breach its non-discrimination policy invoking anti-Semitism, which is bullshit because not all Zionists are Jewish. Not all Zionists are Jewish. Opponents of the new policies, however, warn of the risks they pose to the very fabric of academic discourse. Student activists have expressed fears that such regulations could dilute their messaging and discourage individuals from participating in vital discussions around contentious global issues. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly why they're doing it, y'all. I mean, there ain't no fear that that's happening. That's exactly what's happening. They don't want you protesting. Their Zionist buddies that give them all kinds of cash to their schools and probably them personally too. During the previous academic year, U.S. universities and colleges emerged as a focal point for student-led pro-Palestinian protests, igniting a significant wave of demonstrations at universities throughout the world, where hundreds of students called on their universities to divest from companies that have ties to the Israeli regime. In the spring, after pro-Palestinian students set up tents at Columbia University and school officials brought in city police to clear the demonstration, similar encampments began to emerge at colleges nationwide. Protests erupted at prominent universities such as Harvard, Yale, MIT, and the University of California, frequently intensifying into clashes between opposing groups, factions, and increasing tensions within the campus environment. The U.S. police arrested more than 3,000 students, professors, and faculty members after accusing the involved activists of anti-Semitism and terrorism, and school administrators threatened some protest leaders with suspension and academic probation. The start of the semester coincided with Israel's genocidal war entering its 12th month. So far, more than 41,000 Palestinians have been killed in the genocidal war. And I really feel bad for the kids that are going to school today, especially if you have a conscience and you are not a fan of murdering children. It's probably going to be real tough for you at these schools. But they're protecting it. They're protecting their Zionist buddies. But now a new threat is occurring on school campuses towards Haitians, because that idiot Trump and Vance saying that Haitians eat dogs and cats, which it's not true. It's bullshit. But people are gonna the cultists will say, oh well, we gotta go get those Haitians. And well, sure enough, Ohio's Wittenberg University on alert after shooting threat against Haitians. Wittenberg University in Springfield, Ohio has warned students to be on high alert after someone threatened to shoot Haitians on campus, according to officials. All events and activities scheduled for Sunday had been canceled. An alert sent out to students on Saturday night said the college was taking extreme precautions after an email threatened a shooting on campus yesterday, targeting Haitian members of the community. All students, faculty, and staff should exercise extreme precaution and be alert to all your surroundings, the university said in the alert. If you see anything suspicious or have information about the threat, contact the police division at Wittenberg immediately at the emergency line. The alert added the Springfield Police Division will increase patrols on campus tomorrow, which would be today. If you are on or near campus, prepare for additional instructions. So Springfield has experienced an increase in threats, including bomb threats at local schools after false claims went viral on social media. They claim that Haitian immigrants are stealing and eating pets, even though officials have said no such incidents have been reported in Springfield. And then that idiot Trump said, in Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating... I think he's confusing fellatio with eating an actual cat. So, but then again, he's not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer. There's always threats. It's either someone protesting or it's someone accused of eating pets And now, the journalists in Gaza are getting murdered. And the German journalist group says, no, we need to stop that shit. German journalist group calls for protection of colleagues in Gaza. A group of nearly 90 journalists in Germany has called for the protection of their colleagues in the Gaza Strip, where more than 170 journalists have been killed by Israel since the start of the regime's genocidal war against the besieged territory last October. By setting up the website Project Journalists in Gaza, the German journalist said in a statement that the attacks on journalists constitute a war crime. One of many war crimes. Let's be real. Nevertheless, the Israeli army continues to kill our colleagues who are clearly identified as media personnel by their labels on their vests and helmets, the statement added. The situation for journalists in Gaza is more dangerous than in other parts of the world, it noted. It also underscored the significance of diversifying sources and ensuring equal cooperation with Palestinian media professionals. It highlighted that news reports should critically reflect statements made by all parties involved. It pointed out that no other conflict zone had been closed to journalists while the occupying Tel Aviv regime has shut off the Gaza Strip to media professionals. Although in Ukraine and Russia has denied journalists access there. So just keeping it real. The journalists also criticized German media outlets for parroting Israeli narratives and relying solely on information from the regime's officials. They urged mainstream media organizations to be more balanced in their news coverage. Yeah. More balanced in their news coverage. Oh, you German journalists. You are too funny. Like that shit's going to happen. Journalists operating in the Palestinian territory are faced with increased dangers as they report on the conflict amidst Israeli ground assaults and airstrikes, disrupted communications, supply shortages, and power outages. So I think that's cute that Germany thinks that, you should be fair and balanced, German mainstream media. And German mainstream media said, "Nein, we will not be fair and balanced. But we do have delicious chocolate. We are the land of chocolate, Homer." Delicious. And Germany doubling down, as we spoke of Ukraine, they insist it won't give Ukraine long-range missiles, right? And there's Olaf Scholz. Nein! His hair is gone. But the legend lives on. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz doubled down Friday on Berlin's refusal to send long-range missiles to Ukraine, even as other Western powers discussed allowing Kiev more freedom to use such weapons. Germany has made a clear decision about what we will do and what we will not do. This decision will not change, Scholz said when asked about the issue at a press conference. So maybe he got the ghost of Christmas yet to come, took him on a journey and showed him what giving shooting long-range missiles at Russia would do, and all they saw was mushroom clouds. The leaders of the United States and Britain were due to meet Friday in Washington on whether to let Kiev fire Western-provided long-range missiles into Russia, an option that has sent tensions soaring with Moscow. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's visit to President Joe Biden comes with Kiev increasingly pushing for permission to use the weapons and to secure Western help in shooting down Russian missiles and drones. But the Germans said, "Nein! I know nothing. I see nothing, and you will get no long-range missiles." So, Russia has been dealing with a lot of bullshit. Including spies. I guess, everybody has spies in the midst, but they got rid of some British spies. Here, this is from Al Jazeera. Russia revokes accreditation of 6 British diplomats over spying claims. Ooh, that's a nice-looking building there with a big red star. Russia has revoked the accreditation of 6 British diplomats in Moscow, accusing them of espionage and sabotage. Its announcement on Friday, Russia's Federal Security Service said the diplomats carried out subversive activities and intelligence gathering, adding that it has documentary proof confirming the UK's coordination of an escalation in the international political and military situation in Ukraine. The British government called the Russian accusations completely baseless and poppycock and bullocks. Bob is your uncle. The Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office said on Friday that this was a tit-for-tat giggity measure from Western moves against Russian state-directed activity across Europe and in the UK. The 6 diplomats have already left Russia and been replaced. We are unapologetic about protecting our national interests, said the Foreign Office statement. He said, spies, get the fuck out. If it's not bad enough they have to deal with spies, you would think this was California, right? When you think of like wildfires and fires out of control, you usually think of California here in the United States. But Russia is dealing with them as well. So strong winds fanned dozens of fires in Russia's Rostov region. I think this is part of our environmental block, folks. That's according to the governor. Strong winds fanned fires sparked by downed power lines and carelessness in multiple settlements across Russia's southern Rostov region. Governor Vasily Golubev reported yesterday. Since the start of the day, authorities recorded more than 50 fires with 30 remaining active. Several blazes spread to residential areas, causing limited evacuations. More than 2,000 firefighters and nearly 300 pieces of equipment were engaged in efforts to bring the blazes under control. The Rostov region, a key agricultural area, contributed more than 11% of Russia's total grain harvest last year. However, the region faced early spring frost and subsequent drought in 2024, leading to an anticipated 30% decline in this year's harvest compared to last year. Meanwhile, in Mexico, tropical storm Ileana makes landfall on Mexico's Sinaloa coast after Los Cabos. Tropical storm Ileana made landfall on the coast of the Mexican state of Sinaloa on Saturday, a day after it pounded the resort-studded Los Cabos. The tropical storm formed Thursday off Mexico's Pacific coast and was packing winds of 40 miles per hour, 65 kilometers per hour for you non-Americans. As it moved ashore Saturday, the Miami-based National Hurricane Center said it made landfall near the coastal city of Topolobampo, necesito, and was located late Saturday about 15 miles, 25 kilometers southeast of Los Mochis, not to be confused with the Japanese ice cream. Forecasters say Ileana will churn over the coastal region of northern Sinaloa during the next several hours, then move over the Gulf of California, roughly parallel to the coast on Sunday, weakening into a tropical depression. So yeah, lots of storming, and there's some water there. And now we head overseas. Central and Eastern Europe, at least 8 dead as Storm Boris, which is bad enough, continues to pound Central Eastern Europe. Look at the destruction there. Just like here in the United States with the hurricanes. Death toll in Central and Eastern Europe has risen as Storm Boris continued to pummel the region, causing massive floods. 1 person drowned in southwestern Poland on Sunday. A firefighter taking part in rescue efforts was killed in Austria, and 2 more people were killed in Romania as strong winds and heavy rains were forecast to persist for a 4th day today. Floods killed 4 people in Romania on Saturday. Thousands of people were evacuated on Sunday from their homes in the Czech Republic following days of torrential rain that caused rivers to burst their banks in several parts of the region. A low-pressure system named Boris has triggered downpours from Austria to Romania, leading to some of the worst flooding in nearly 3 decades in hard-hit areas in the Czech Republic and Poland. More rain and strong winds are forecast until at least today through the rain, though the rain eased yesterday in Romania, which bore the brunt of flooding a day earlier. Thousands of homes were damaged over the weekend, bridges swept away, and at least 250,000 households, mainly in the Czech Republic, were affected by power cuts. Yeah, so this year has seen some pretty wild weather for sure. Not just here, but around the world. In China, getting hit by Typhoon Bebinka, the strongest storm since 1949. And if you're doing the math, that's 75 years. 75 years. Shanghai's 25 million people advised to stay at home as Bebinka pounds city with heavy rains and strong winds. So the storm made landfall in Shanghai. It hit about 7:30 a.m. Today, although it was it's not the same time. It's 23:30 Greenwich Mean Time. I don't know the math on that, but it happened in the future here from the United States. In the coastal area of Lingang New City on Shanghai's east, the China Meteorological Administration said, with wind speeds of up to 151 kilometers per hour, 94 miles per hour near its eye, Bebinka is the strongest storm to hit the city since Typhoon Gloria in 1949, the state-run Global Times reported. Flights and train services were canceled, highways closed, and Shanghai's 25 million residents advised to stay at home ahead of the storm's arrival. A 40-kilometer, 25-mile-per-hour speed limit was imposed on roads inside the city. Red alert was in place, and some 9,000 people evacuated from the Chongming district, an island at the mouth of the Yangtze River. City authorities said local authorities ordered all vessels to return to port to avoid heavy seas. So yeah, that's Shanghai getting first time they're getting something like that in 75 years. That's crazy. But good news for China. If you're retiring, you get to wait a little longer. China is raising its retirement age, now among the youngest in the world's major economies. So starting next year, China will raise its retirement age for workers, which is now among the youngest in the world's major economies, in an effort to address its shrinking population and aging workforce. The Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, the country's legislature, passed the new policy Friday after a sudden announcement earlier in the week that it was reviewing the measure. State broadcaster CCTV, it's not closed captioning television, that's China's TV, announced the policy change will be carried out over 15 years, with the retirement age for men raised to 63 years and for women to 55 or 58 years, depending on their jobs. The current retirement age is 60 for men and 50 for women in blue-collar jobs and 55 for women doing white-collar work. If you're a woman, you get to retire a little younger. We have more people coming into the retirement age, and so the pension fund is facing high pressure. That's why I think it's now time to act seriously, said Zhuwan Peng, a senior research fellow at Victoria University in Australia who studies Chinese population and its ties to the economy. The previous retirement ages were set in the 50s when life expectancy was only around 40 years, Peng said. Look at this little guy. He's cute. The policy will be implemented starting in January, according to the announcement from China's legislature. The change will take effect progressively based on people's birth dates. For example, a man born in January 1971 could retire at the age of 61 years and 7 months in October 2032, according to a chart released along with the policy. A man born in May 1971 could retire at the age of 61 years and 8 months in January 2023. Demographic pressures made the move long overdue. Experts say by the end of 2023, China counted nearly 300 million people over the age of 60. That's nightmare fuel right there. By 2035, that figure is projected to be 400 million, larger than the population of the U.S. The Chinese Academy of Social Sciences had previously projected that the public pension fund will run out of money by that year. Pressure on social benefits such as pensions and Social Security is hardly a China-specific problem. The U.S. also faces the issue, as an analysis shows that currently the Social Security Fund won't be able to pay out full benefits to the people by 2033, which is bullshit, because they could totally do it If you can spend almost $1 trillion on the military, you can take care of your elderly folks, which is to say, you know, that just tells you how we are here in the United States. They're thinking about trying to raise the age here too, because we live so long. But I mean, are we really living? That's the big question. Back here at home, Boeing workers are sticking it to the military industrial complex, inadvertently or not. I don't care. I'll take it. This is from Defense One. Boeing workers' strike will hit Pentagon programs. Boeing's defense programs are caught in the crossfire after the company workers rejected a new labor contract and went on strike in the Pacific Northwest. Over 30,000 Boeing machinists have stopped working at the company's aircraft production facilities, which build the commercial-derived Air Force KC-46 tanker and Navy P-8 maritime aircraft. The tanker program is going to be impacted by the Boeing Commercial Airlines factory disruption and now work stoppage. So that is going to flow through the tanker rates, which is going to be more cost pressure, Boeing Chief Financial Officer Brian West said during a Morgan Stanley conference. Late Thursday evening, workers voted down a proposed agreement between Boeing and the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, the union representing Boeing employees in Washington and Oregon. A protracted strike could disrupt aircraft deliveries to the Pentagon. When you talk about how can we change the system, how can we, what can we do to change things? A protracted strike could disrupt aircraft deliveries to the Pentagon. But yeah, keep voting. Third parties, fourth parties, fifth parties, whatever you like. Keep voting and don't try a protracted strike that could disrupt deliveries. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. West also previewed another bad quarter for the company's defense business, which logged nearly $1 billion in losses last quarter. Yeah, right. Margins are going to be negative, and they're going to be similar to the second quarter margin rate, and that's a disappointment, he said. The losses are due in part to higher disruption across the fighter programs, West said, as the company winds down the FA-18 Super Hornet production line and starts to ramp up F-15EX production. Boeing is also continuing to lose money on fixed-price development contracts such as the Air Force T-7 trainer jet and Navy's MQ-25 unmanned refuelers. We're working in the test phase of the T-7 and approaching the build phase of the MQ-25, but these are development programs, and we are dealing with challenges, he said. So, yeah, Boeing says, you know what? The Boeing workers, I should say. That's how you do it, folks. I mean, you're saying, you want to change shit, you got to shut it down, right? But we need something. We need a massive, general strike across the country, and that is something it seems like nobody's talking about doing, or if they do, they talk about it in passing, and they don't really talk about ways of getting it done. They just want you to watch their political dramas and, check out that battle of Jill Stein versus AOC, because that's the important shit, right? NYPD over the weekend shot and killed a person who was jumping the turnstile. They basically weren't paying to get on the subway. They shot and killed this person. That's how bad the New York Police Department has come. But, they say to protect and serve. Well, who are they protecting and who are they serving?
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media publish these things as if they are true without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
So, this is from the Washington Post. Officer who ignored NYPD's courtesy cards receives $175,000 settlement. And this is a bizarre story. I put this under propaganda because, the cops are always, the police officials are always saying, we're trying to help you, your safety and stuff. But So let me just read this in full. One driver giggled when New York police officer Matthew Bianchi pulled her over for talking on her cell phone because it was the second time in as many days that he had done so, the officer said. Another was going at least twice the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit while driving on the wrong side of the street and blowing through red lights, he added. A third, who had been doing 50 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone, reacted to Bianchi approaching his Mercedes SUV by fanning out about 24 courtesy cards and telling him to pick one, Bianchi said. In fact, all three of them had the cards issued by the New York Police Department's biggest union to officers who then give them to family, friends, and anyone else they want to be able to get out of low-level encounters with law enforcement, Bianchi told the Washington Post. There's no fear of any kind of enforcement if they have the card, he added. Although he let all three of those drivers go, Bianchi eventually got fed up with letting reckless drivers off the hook, some of them repeatedly, and started writing tickets even if they had the cards, he said. That allegedly led to escalating retaliation that in May of last year resulted in Bianchi suing the city and a police captain after he was pulled off the traffic unit and put on the night shift. Last Tuesday, Bianchi settled the 16-month-old lawsuit against the city and a police captain for $175,000 in a 41-page complaint filed in the U.S. District Court of Southern New York. Bianchi outlined an unofficial but strictly maintained system in which those who have courtesy cards can break the law with impunity. Bianchi said that although he has settled what he described as a whistleblower's lawsuit, the courtesy card system continues unabated, and he is worried it will keep going until a driver who has repeatedly escaped punishment kills someone. How ironic, since a cop actually killed someone yesterday. I was hoping that bringing light to it would change it a little bit more, but people on that job are stubborn. The NYPD did not respond to Bianchi's allegations, instead referring the Washington Post to the city's legal department. A spokesman for that department confirmed they had settled the case for $175 large, but declined to comment further, other than to say that resolving this case was best for all parties. Yeah, I'm sure. Bianchi joined the NYPD in 2015 and was assigned to the traffic unit in 2017, the suit states. And over the next 2 years, he received stellar performance evaluations. He patrolled on Staten Island, where he estimated as many as half the drivers he pulled over had one of the cards, he told the Post. Because it's true, because most of Staten Island is cops and cop families. They're given not only the friends and family, but also in exchange for perks like meal discounts, he said, adding that he believes that is violating the public's trust and that police treat everyone equally. In 2018, Bianchi gave a driver a ticket even though she presented a card. The suit states several members of the Police Benevolent Association allegedly approached him, one telling him that he had to obey the courtesy card customs or the union wouldn't protect him. See, that's what I'm talking about, these unions. Unions are great. It's the union bosses that are shit and bought and paid for. He started objecting to the practice, first to his direct supervisor, then to his commanding officer, who told him they couldn't do much, he said, right. Then he filed a series of complaints to the union, NYPD Internal Affairs, and the New York City Department of Investigation without getting any results, according to the suit. All the while, Bianchi kept writing courtesy card carrying driver's tickets when he thought it was appropriate and kept getting scolded for it, the suit states. In 2022, he was allegedly busted down from the more prestigious traffic unit, as we said, to patrol and move from days to the night shift. And so I'll have this link later once the show's over. You can check this out for yourself. It's insane, right? I mean, it's not shocking though, as criminally corrupt as the New York Police Department is. I'm sure here in Chicago, it's the same way. They probably have courtesy cards here too, It's why people can't trust their governments, because the lapdogs that protect them are on the take as well. They're out there protecting their buddies. They're not protecting you. They're protecting their friends, their family, and anybody that can get them a discount or a free meal at their fucking restaurant. Fucking pieces of shit. And finally, in our propaganda watch here, We go back to Israel. Actually, I think this is technically the UK, but Jewish Chronicle retracts allegedly fabricated articles on Gaza. The Jewish Chronicle has removed a series of articles alleged to contain fabricated quotes from Israeli officials, prompting an investigation by the military. The outlet, which is the oldest Jewish news source in the UK, had published several articles by a reporter named Elon Perry. Not the pseudonym of Elon Musk, but some other douchebag Elon. One of the articles claimed the discovery of a document from Gaza allegedly detailing Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar's plans to escape with Israeli hostages taken during the October 7th attack using the Philadelphia corridor as a route to Iran. We talked about that story before on here. However, the Israeli army stated it had no knowledge of such a document, and several Israeli outlets began to question Perry's identity and professional background. Left-leaning Plus 972 magazine questioned his claims of having served as a commando during Operation Entebbe and being a professor at Tel Aviv University for 15 years, as there appear to be no records confirming these assertions. Given the similarity between Perry's claims and statements made by Prime Minister and fuckhole, fuckface, piece of shit, motherfucker, cocksucker, assface, shitbag, Benjamin Netanyahu, some have speculated that this could be part of a broader disinformation campaign. Ooh, you think? Despite the mounting controversy, the JC initially chose not to remove the articles from its website. However, on Saturday, the outlet reversed course. While we understand he did serve in the Israeli Defense Force, we were not satisfied with some of his claims, the outlet said in a statement without further explanation. We have therefore removed his stories from our website and ended any association with Mr. Perry. The outlet reaffirmed its commitment to maintain the highest journalistic standards in a highly contested information landscape, saying, "We regret the chain of events that led to this point. We apologize to our loyal readers and have reviewed our internal processes so this will never be repeated, blah, 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 blah." What's his name again? Elon Perry, ELONPERRY. What's going on, Max? Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, so fuckery is afoot everywhere. Trust no one. Be very skeptical of things, especially if you're pretty comfortable with it. You should always be skeptical. Like I said, you don't have to be paranoid. You have to go crazy, but skepticism is your buddy in the 21st century. Finally, more Chinese news, but good news. China sent a probe to the moon, right? And the dark side of the moon, where they found Pink Floyd. No Roger Waters. He's safely here on Earth. But now that probe is back and brought some critters with it. No, I'm just kidding. No critters. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Chinese lunar probe returns with first far side moon samples. And that's the thing about this show. You're gonna hear about hurricanes that affect not just here but around the world. You're also going to hear about space news, because I'm all about the space news. China's Chang'e 6 probe returned to Earth with rock and soil samples from the little explored far side of the moon in a global first. The probe landed in the Inner Mongolian region in northern China on Tuesday afternoon. I now declare that the Chang'e 6 lunar exploration mission achieved complete success, Zhang Kaijian, director of the China National Space Administration, said in a televised news conference after the landing. Chinese scientists anticipate the return samples will include 2.5 million-year-old volcanic rock and other material that scientists hope will answer questions about geographic differences on the moon's two sides. The near side is what is seen from Earth, and the far side faces outer space. The far side is also known to have mountains and impact craters, contrasting with the relatively flat expanses visible on the near side. The probe had landed in the moon's south pole Aitken Basin, an impact crater created more than 4 billion years ago. The samples scientists are expecting will likely come from different layers of the basin, which will bear traces of the different geological events across its long chronology, such as when the moon was younger and had an active inside that could produce volcanic rock. I remember when I had an active inside, but now it's It don't produce volcanic rock. It's producing some kind of, it's volcanic, but it's not rock. While past U.S. and Soviet missions have collected samples from the moon's near side, the Chinese mission was the first that has collected samples from the far side. This is a global first in the sense that it's the first time anyone has been able to take off from the far side of the moon and bring back samples, said Richard DeGrees, a professor of astrophysics at Macquarie University in Australia. The moon program is part of a growing rivalry with the U.S., still the leader in space exploration, commercial anyway, and others, including Japan and India. China has put its own space station in orbit and regularly sends crews there. China's leader Xi Jinping sent a message of congrats to the team, saying that it was a landmark achievement in our country's efforts of becoming a space and technological power. The probe left Earth on May 3rd, and its journey lasted 53 days. The probe has drilled into the core and scooped rocks from the surface. The samples are expected to answer one of the most fundamental scientific questions in lunar science research: what geologic activity is responsible for the differences between the two sides? Said Zhonggu Yu, a geologist at the Chinese Academy of Sciences, in a statement issued in the Innovation Monday, a journal published in partnership with the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Yeah, it's interesting because, yeah, it's the people said that you would think that the side facing the Earth would be the rough side, and that the far side, which basically helps, you know, attract meteors and stuff away from the Earth, you would think that would be the flat pulverized side, but no, it's flippity doo-dah. It's reversed. I always had some people say we didn't go to the Earth, we didn't go to the moon because of the Van Allen radiation belt would have killed everybody. Which I call the Van Halen belt because, you know, it rocks. But I think we did go to the moon. I think we saw some shit up there that we weren't supposed to see, and that's why we haven't been back. And the Chinese don't know that, or maybe the Chinese do, and they said, "Fuck you, we're going to see what you guys are doing up there." So, a never-ending story when it comes to the moon and stuff like that. It's a wild time. So, yeah. So that's pretty much the show for today. A little bit shorter than usual. I think actually with the intro and everything, we actually came in at around a little over an hour for the news. So I was slacking, but we'll have more news on Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, our buddy Ricky Rants, this crazy guy, he's going to be on ExtraBulla Live with me. That's Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Do the math for the individual times in between. You know who you are. Ricky Rants, good man out of NYC, friend of the show, friend of the shows, actually. There's a few shows. And it'll be fun to have a chat with him. And also, I got something in the works with our buddy Lucy, Blue Moon Red Wine, for a little something. I'm going to keep it under wraps until then, but should be a good one. Oh, so he only got one. So Willie's got a video 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. And of course, Around the World with D and Friends at 9 p.m. Eastern. And again, if you are Fingerman, what's up, man? If you didn't see this, and Teresa, good to see you too over there on the Rockfin. If you didn't see this before, please, it's our buddy Chanda Masta. Oops, that's not her. Let's go back to this. Where was I? I swear this drinking in the morning is going to get me one of these days. There we go. Let's go back to that. There's Shanda's. So if she is battling lung cancer and she needs your help, if she has their GoFundMe here, like I said, we have the link in the description right now. If you want to help her out, I'm sure she would really appreciate it. She's not a lady of wealth by any stretch. And, of course, everybody knows healthcare in America is expensive as fuck, to get. So if you could help out our buddy Chanda, that would be cool. So, anyway, I think that's it for today. We will be back on Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel. I hope all of you have a great rest of your day. Stay well, stay informed, stay frosty, because fuckery's afoot everywhere you go. What's up, Miguel? Look at you sneaking in. Oh, you've been listening? Okay, Teresa. We try to make this more audible friendly for those who can't watch the show, because we really don't have too much in the way of like video stuff unless we're showing actual videos. But you know, if you're just listening, you know, if you're just lurking, that's cool too. You know, we just we appreciate you listening. So, and if you're new, make sure you you know, like, share, and subscribe, all the usual stuff. And, you know, tell your friends that we're doing straight news Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, and doing a lot of stories, too. We're trying to fill your belly and your head full of knowledge, news you can use. So I appreciate and love each and every one of you. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you on Hump Day. That's right. Peace out, Home Slice.
This is City Alpha 5! A damn good song, wasn't it, Dora? You like that song? All right.
Soon.